Beaver Radio Network. I'm Brian Schultz. BSU football team won their homecoming game this past weekend. 2 weeks ago, kicker Isaac Aanerud was named the Northern Sun Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. Congratulations on a career day a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
50-yard field goals don't happen very often. In fact, it was 1977 the last time that one was kicked here for BSU. Take us through what was going on in your mind as the second down and third down play were unfolding, and you knew you maybe had a chance of going in there on fourth.
Yeah, well, it's always kind of a process. You know, I never really get a chance to really relax on the sidelines. I'm always watching to see what's going on. So, you know, the guys get closer and closer to the field goal range, and I'm kind of warming up, getting ready. And that third down comes along. It's like, okay, I got to get by Tesh, make sure he knows what's going on. And, you know, I tell him, okay, we're in range. And he made the call to go, so we went out and did it, and everything went perfect. So,
did you hit that one perfectly?
I would say that not only did I, but everyone on the field goal team has to be perfect. So the snapper has to have a good snap, holder has to have a good hold, and I have to have a good kick. And that's exactly what happened. Everything really came out on that play.
Sorry to say it didn't happen that way last weekend. Is it a collective group, for lack of a better term, failure in that in those situations last weekend?
I would say that everyone collectively as a group, you know, for example, like when I got, you know, Northern Sun Player of the Week, you know, it's not just me receiving that award, it's the whole team, you know, when it comes to field goal aspect, because everyone's got to block, everyone's got to do their things, and not all of us executed our job last weekend, whether it be me, whether it be the guys blocking for me. Everyone needs to put forth more effort, not only during practice, but during the game, so that we can make that happen, because PATs are like free throws. You know, you got to make those. There's no exception. You know, you can't have misses.
What's it like being on your third holder in 5 weeks?
I would say it's gotten much better from where it was. I mean, when those guys went down the first game, I was a little frantic. You know, not knowing who's going to do it. And plus, it just throws the chemistry right out the window. You know, being a red shirt last year, I worked with Ryan when, you know, just doing our stuff I did last year. And now at the beginning of the year, worked with him, and then all of a sudden he's out. It's like, great. I don't know how the hold's going to be. So I kind of start worrying about his job more than I should. And in a result, sometimes it caused me to do poorly when really I just need to worry about myself.
A lot of kickers have a soccer background. Do you?
Yeah, a pretty big one.
How does it help you?
Well, growing up playing soccer and the way kicking is done today, instead of just a toe poke, it is very similar. You got to kind of have the same mechanics, but there's just a little fine-tuning that comes with that. And luckily, over the years, I kind of, you know, people say, well, kicking and soccer have their own different aspects, and they screw one another up sometimes. And that was the tough part, just focusing on what I'm doing for kicking, but soccer really did help.
Longtime hockey coach here, Vic Weber's son Bob, is kind of the volunteer kicking coach here at BSU. How much has he helped you?
Coming in, Bob and I didn't always see eye to eye, because he kind of does things a little bit, I guess you kind of say old school, some of his technique stuff, and I was kind of, you know, thinking that all the stuff that I've learned at my camps is more knowledgeable or better. But now that I've kind of opened up to his ideas, he has really helped out with specific things like punting, you know, keeping your plant foot down instead of rising up, tilting your body. There are things that he offers to me that have really improved my game.
How much punting did you do in high school?
None.
Okay, that's obviously a big change. You've got bigger guys running at you much faster, punting than kicking.
Yeah.
How do you just mentally block all that out and just focus on dropping the ball right and kicking it right?
You just kind of have to have tunnel vision. Yeah, kind of like a racehorse, you know, they put the blinders up. You just got to worry about what your job is. And a lot of it comes to reps in practice, you know, just working on drops for 10, 15 minutes, you know, getting 100 and some drops in, and just focusing on where you need to hit the ball and what your body needs to do in order to make that happen.
Do you drop differently depending on what type of kick you want?
Sometimes. A lot of the time when we get really close in, but we're still out from field goal range, and we do, it's called a sky punt, where we try to maybe pin them in deep. and I'll drop the ball a little bit different there so I can kind of put a little more hang time on it and not go as far so I don't put it through the end zone and get a touchback, because in that case we would kind of lose yards.
The wind was a factor last week. Made a big difference kicking into it as opposed to kicking with it. You had some beautiful punts into the wind. What technically do you have to do to get the ball to cut through the wind like that?
First things first is you just got to pretend like there's no wind there, because a lot of kicking is mental game. So, some people will go out there and be like, oh, what about this wind? Do I need to drop the ball a certain way different or tilt it more to compensate for the wind? You just got to do what you know how you can do. Just don't worry about that wind. And, I did try to get a lower drop, because sometimes if you hold it up higher, it'll, with the hang time, I guess, of your drop can change depending on what way the wind's coming from. So Bob really emphasized, make sure your drop is waist height, get as close as you can. And in the game, I really stayed focused going into that wind, and it showed.
From a team standpoint, what's it been like to be a part of this team the last 2 weeks as opposed to the first 3?
I think that it's still as enjoyable. Obviously it's a lot of fun to win, but all of our guys have the same goal, and they all want the same things. And we realized our mistakes, and we just kept pushing harder and harder. And in turn, that helped us to do better. And it's more fun to be around each other in the win. But no matter what, we're still together. And we all keep pushing for the same thing, win or lose. And hopefully we can keep going on our streak here.
Crookston's got a grass field, one of just 2 in this league. How's your job different on a real grass surface?
I gotta treat it the same. I can't worry about whether the grass is too tall and it's not showing as much of the ball, or I just need to worry about hitting the ball where I need to hit it and following through like I know I can.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.